Good morning. Today is the second day of Av, and I have no idea what it is in July.
My English birthday is July 29th. I don't know. 27th?
27th of July. Okay, so we'll try to remember that. Chassidus. So we're on page Nun Aleph, I think. Yes, we're on page Nun Aleph in Hamanos Elokus and Derech Mitzosecha. And so we spent actually 2 days speaking about something that's very relevant, because this in 3 days, on Wednesday, it'll be the Yortzeit of the Arizal. So the fact that he didn't mention anything from the Arizal about Tzimtzum here, I said, was very telling. And again, it's because of this. The Chassidus wants to explain things in such a way that it'll fit everyone. Even simple people won't fall into this, call it anthropomorphism of Tzimtzum. And by the way, Tzimtzum sounds a lot like, in the end, it sounds a lot like it would be with influence and with flow rather than with light. But he said, obviously the result doesn't say that. He says it's all in the light. So how is it? So let's just finish that point. How does Chassidus understand Tzimtzum? So Tzimtzum, contraction of the light, Chassidus understands as a concealment of the light. Meaning it's he'elem v'gilui. It turns it into concealment and revelation, because that's what light is like. It's supposed to be. So Chassidus is basically saying this follows from the shift in the language used by the Kabbalists. Instead of using flow, shefa, using light, so you have to be consistent. And when the Arizal says that the light is contracted, you can't say contracted as like something physical. It's not like flow. So it only follows that it should be concealment. So the way to say that, the way Chassidus says that, is that the tzimtzum is lo kipshuto, that the contraction is not literal, it's rather metaphoric. But he really didn't need even to say that. You could just say light does not contract, because it's not something like flow. So rather it has to be concealed. But Chassidus goes one step further and says, not only this, most of the Kabbalists agreed on that this was the correct interpretation, but Chassidus does go one step further, and it says it's not just that God concealed the light, because that would imply that even he from his point of view is concealed. Rather, it says it's only from our point of view.
Okay.
From God's point of view, nothing changed, like we always say. So everything is still the same. Hashem is present in everything. And again, that goes to counteract the simple understanding that a person might have of hearing the contraction and hearing that there is an empty void of God's light, and he doesn't know what that means exactly, and so on. And he pictures in his mind somehow Hashem is not here. God is not here, and that's not true. God is omnipresent. He's everywhere. And that is the meaning, literally, of the whole chiddush of the Baal Shem Tov, to explain everything in terms of what we call hashra'ah. Hashra'ah means immersion, but in this context it means omnipresence. It means the omnipresence of Hashem. So obviously you have to understand the contraction in a certain way. Anyway, going back to everything that we learned, we didn't even use that concept from the Arizal. I'm just explaining how the Arizal is understood in Chassidus. Okay. Where were we? Let's just continue from where I think we were. ודאי בזה להבין ולהשכיל שאין המשכת החיות בעולמות גורם בו שינוי. חס וחלילה, כנ"ל במשל. So this was enough to understand how is it that we say that bringing life force into the world does not create change in godliness. אלא שזה צריך להודיע שאין המשל, שבוע טוב, שאין המשל דומה לנמשל, שבמשל הנה הרע מהשמש בא ממנה ממילא ובחיוב עד שאין כוח בשמש למנוע הרעתה. So there is still one difference. The difference in the parable that we used of the sun and its rays, there the sun is a created object. It has no choice. It has no will. It can't decide whether the light is going to emanate from it or not. The light is going to come anyway. כי השפע מן המשפע תלויה ברצונו להשפיע או למנוע. Because when it comes to Hashem, the influence, the flow, is entirely dependent on his will to either give or not give flow. ובאמת דהה בהתליא שלפי שבא בכוחו שצריך לטורדו בה, לכן נבחר אם לעסוק או למנוע. מה שאין כן בהערה מן המאור שבאה ממילא, אין לו בחירה בזה. אז זהו בנבראים בלבד. So, when we say that something has flow, we say that he has to choose to give it.
He has
He has to choice. He has agency. To flow is a decision. It's a conscious decision. To be concealed or revealed is not a conscious decision. There's no in creation. So, for instance, like we said, we have a candle, and I cover the candle, or the Shabbos lamp, or whatever you want, any of these things. There's light there, and I conceal it. So there, the light doesn't get to choose anything, right? The light doesn't choose whether it's going to shine or not. It has to shine, and the choice of whether it's going to be concealed or not concealed is not up to it. It can't decide or not. This distinction between flow and concealment and revelation is only in the created beings. But when it comes to Hashem, the revelation itself is like flow, meaning that it's conscious. It's conscious. It's a decision whether I will be revealed or not revealed. Meaning he's a composite of both aspects. On the one hand, it's only light. Again, light in the sense of the concealment or revelation, and it's like flow, that it's agency, that it's up to his will, whether he wants it or not. כולם נמשכים ממנו, והיינו שההערה תלויה ברצונו, כשנברא העולם, meaning that to be revealed is dependent on his will. And when the world was created, היינו שברצונו הפשוט הוא להאיר ממנו הערה כנ"ל. So when the world was created, what does that mean? That God wanted to be revealed. That is the creation of the world. The creation of the world is not anything new really coming into being. It's not coming into being. It's the revelation of Hashem. Hashem decided to be revealed. This presents a lot of big questions. What is this world then? So we said this many times. Everything you see is godly. That's what it means to create the world. To create the world is just to make it revealed. That's all. But it was always there.
It doesn't preclude that there are other worlds created too. We know
there's many things.
Right.
שברצונו הפשוט הוא להאיר ממנו הערה כנ"ל, שהערה זו בבחינת זיו לבד, הנה היא מקור כל החיים. And so now, what are we saying? That all life that you see, every instance of life, is a revelation of Hashem. That's all it is. That's what life is. It's a revelation of Hashem. It's a different understanding of what it means to sanctify life when you understand that all life is a revelation of godliness. It's very, very different. People tend to think that life, so what's life? Life is everywhere. What's a big deal with life? You understand? Life is the revelation of godliness. It's the revelation of the infinite.
Well, there is a difference between Atzil and Livro. What is the difference? Atzil is Livro. That's all.
So we'd say that
Atzil is also presumably some sort of Gilui.
Right? There are all, but there are levels of consciousness from the point of view of the life, whether it feels connected to the source or it doesn't feel connected to the source. When in creation, formation, and action, the energy, the life energy, seems to be independent. You don't know where it's coming from. There's no sense of where it's coming from. That's why people say, life. That's why you can say something like that, because it seems to like something, it's really not, you don't see, when a person's alive, you don't see that this is an emanation of godliness.
So,
Good.
So Hindus' sanctification of animals, where you
Right.
can kill them, is in a
Right,
sense
right,
Israel.
right.
They have no Torah. They have
Right.
no way to apply it.
No, but that's the simple understanding.
That's the simple understanding.
That is the basic understanding that a person should have. That all life is a revelation of godliness.
Yeah, that's a great thing for me.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. But the Malachim, when, let's say, at most of Bria, they do perceive that they're being created.
Right.
The Malachim.
Right.
So when,
Even in Bria, they know where the source of their life is. But the difference is that their agency is much more limited, so it's not so hard for them. We say the same thing about animals, by the way. We say the same thing, that animals do not have a sense of being separate.
But angels do.
No, angels also don't. That's why angels are like animals in that sense.
they are chayot, chayot הקודש.
I understand. Yes, yes.
They're animals. Like,
They're animals.
animals tend to not. There's no. We don't really have. We have a little bit of this, but in principle, we don't speak so much about an animal sinning. There's a little bit of that, a tiny, tiny bit, but it's more an accomplice than it. Meaning that it took part in something, and it's not nice to have something that took part in something, even if it didn't have agency. So we talk a little bit about an animal doing something, but there's no Moby Dick. What?
The angel can also sin. The angel, the malach,
Yeah.
he can also sin.
Yeah, he can. He has a little bit of
More, he has
agency.
more
We said
agency.
he has more agency than an animal, but not much more. But there's no Moby Dick. If there's Moby Dick, come to Hashem with your complaints. Go to God. It's a force of nature. What are you coming to say that it has agency? It knows what it's doing. No, this is how the life force was revealed here. So, we mentioned this many times that the Baal Shem Tov says that at the basic level I should feel that I and the ant are the same, because we both have a revelation of godliness. That's a chna, that's submission. First of all, submit. Okay, and David Amel says, I'm like a worm. Ani ketolat velo ish. I'm a worm and not a person.
Yes.
Because that's the basic feeling. The basic feeling should be, I'm no better than any of these. But that's not all of you. That's just the submission. Then there's separation, how you're different. And then finally there's the sweetening, which is that if you act properly, then all of nature will act properly. Hashem put this all in your hands in the
But
end.
without the Torah, we wouldn't understand
Right.
this differentiation.
Right. ולכן קודם שנברא העולם היה האור כלול במאור על דרך משל. So before the world was created, what do we mean by before the world was created? Here, according to what we're explaining, it means that the light was still contained in its source. That the life force was still in the source of life. על דרך משל רוצה לומר שיש ביכולת אצלו יתברך להחיות העולם ולהאיר בבחינת זיו כנ"ל, שזהו אין סוף. Meaning, what does it mean that it's contained within? That he has a potential. And usually the explanation of potential is like that we have an ember that has a coal, a glowing coal, like an ember, and I can blow on it and the fire will come out. So it's there in potential. And it's not just any potential, it's called near potential. We call this near potential.
You're meaning any
Close.
Close.
Meaning it's close to becoming actualized. It's very easy. All you have to do is blow a little. But there's also far potential, which is what we say that there's a spark in a flintstone. So if you dig a flintstone and you strike it, the spark comes out. So where was the spark? You can't say it was inside the stone. But still, it's related to the stone. The stone, it emanates from the stone in some way. It's from the friction, from this, from that, but it's connected to the stone. So that we say is far potential, because the flint itself doesn't have the spark inside. You can't see it. So Hashem had potential. Exactly which kind of potential is it? Is it near potential, far potential? About Hashem we say that this is near potential. ולהאיר בבחינת זיו כנ"ל, שזהו אינסוף, ואחר כך האיר ממנו זיו זהו בבחינת גילוי, כי המשכה זו על ידי רצון דווקא ולא ממילא. But then Hashem had to decide, because he has agency, because this is not like the sun. This is where, again, it deviates from the sun. The sun is just a fusion furnace. That's all it does. It does fusion because that's what it does. It can't decide to contain the light. The light has to come out. The energy has to come out. There's no way for it to be contained. But Hashem, to create the world, again, what do we mean by creation? To give life, to give this life, to create something that's alive, this is a conscious decision. And it doesn't happen by itself. When we say Hashem wills it, we mean simple will. What do we mean simple will? This is the type of will that precedes the Sfirot. This comes before the Sfirot. What we usually call this is the Malchus of Ein Sof.
Malchus
of Ein Sof, of the infinite.
Ein Sof.
Well, we're getting into all kinds of later discussions. Here he tries to keep it simple. What does this mean that a will that's before the עשר ספירות? שהגם שבעשר ספירות גם כן הוא ורצונו אחד על דרך שכתב הרמב"ם, הוא היודע והוא המדע. Even though in the ספירות themselves we say that there's will, and there we have to say he and his will are one thing, כבר אמרנו למעלה שמהותו ועצמתו יתברך למעלה מעלה גם מזה. Hashem himself is above all that. All these things that you have to say, he and his will are one thing. He and his wisdom are one thing. Again, this is about the Sfirot. This is what we said about the Sfirot, meaning that he's engarbed in them. So we say it's one thing. In the same way that we said that the agency of a person extends into a tool. Okay, it's one thing. It's an extension of it. כבר אמרנו למעלה שמטרו ועצמתו יתברך למעלה מעלה גם מזה, ואומרנו רצון שם היינו רק לשלול שאינו בדרך חיוב. So when we say his will that is above the Sfirot, we don't mean will like in the Sfirot. We just mean to say that there is a decision, a conscious decision to want the world to come into being. We don't mean will in the sense of will when it's in the Sfirot. Again, this is like almost sounds like nitpicking, but it's very important that he's saying that this will has to proceed. There has to be will that precedes even the will that then is enclosed in the Sfirot. And we'll get more into this later on, but וכבר אמרנו שם שנעלם ממנו השגת וציור מהותו יתברך אלא באמונה לבד. And this type of will you can only believe in. So again, we have to, we don't have time today, but tomorrow I'll try to give a parable to understand this in ourselves. What does it mean will before I even have any kind of engarbment in any of my faculties? What is that will? It's not will that's fashioned. It doesn't have a picture. It just means that I'm a free agent. I'll say it like this very simply, that when the government looks at me, it doesn't care what I actually did. It doesn't care what my will actually did. It's enough that I have will. Meaning they treat me, first of all, as a willful being. It's how I see other people also. I don't care at the moment how you're going to actually act and what you want. I don't care about your will per se. I care about your will as agency. That's all. Just as the ability to do something. Whether you did something or not, doesn't matter. So we'll end here. So we finished chapter 5, and God willing, tomorrow we'll continue with chapter 6. Sorry?
What book is that?
Derech mitzvotecha. Derech mitzvotecha, the path of your mitzvos.
צמח צדק. צמח צדק.